guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's International Women's Day today, and I thought, you know, what better way than to share my 10-year journey. Yep, this year actually marks 10 years of my career, and I thought I just wanted to share how I got into this and what it all means to me, and yeah, I just hope this inspires you. To be honest, it wasn't something that I actually planned. I really wanted to go into TV and movie makeup, and that's kind of what I wanted to. But you had to do a degree in TV makeup, and you had to kind of, I wanted to do prosthetics to be exact. I wanted to do special effects, and I really wanted to, like, man, the dream for me would have been being on set of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or something, but no, that's not gonna happen. Not that I can't, it's just that it's not something that I want anymore. But yeah, my best friend was getting married the year that I was actually qualifying, and she just asked me to do her hair and makeup for her Hindu wedding, and I looked at her and then I said, I don't know how to do the plait, I don't even know how to do sari draping, like I can't do this. And I you know, I was really stressed out. You know, it's my best friend and obviously she's getting married, but she just said to me, look, just can you just do my makeup, because I don't want to look caked, and I want to look really, really simple, and I want to look like myself. And this is somebody who doesn't really wear makeup at all. Like, I don't even think at that point she'd ever worn, you know, foundation. So she asked me, and then I thought, okay, fine, you know, I'll do the makeup. But I was cheeky. I actually stayed and waited and watched how the lady that she had hired, which was who was an older Tamil lady, you know, who was very good at doing all of this stuff. And so she did the hair, so I watched how she attached the plait and how she actually draped the sari and everything. So I kind of took mental notes, and I thought, oh, this is not as complicated, this is not as bad as I thought it would be. So my first guinea pig after that was actually my cousin Luxie. It was her puberty ceremony, and so it's a, you know, for those who don't know, when the girls come of age, we actually celebrate, and we kind of, gosh, how can I make it sound elegant? But anyway, so she had this age, you know, the sari ceremony, whatever people call it these days, but so I just practiced. So she was my guinea pig, and I just thought, let me see how this works. And I did the plait. It was okay, but I just realized actually this is a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. It just looked easy, but it's not. And then I think I just said to myself, you know what, let me just do a few jobs here and there, especially these sari ceremony ones, like the puberty ceremony ones, and then see how I feel. And then the more and more I got, you know, interested in it, the more and more I kind of started advertising it and said, look, I can do the whole thing. And it's with any field really, like, you know, whenever you begin, you're never going to be perfect. And to be honest, 10 years later, I still don't think I'm perfect. There are still things that I, you know, get annoyed about, and I look at it and I'm just like, oh, you know, I could have done it better, but how? And, you know, I think, you know, you should always be learning anyway. But yeah, so I think slowly by slowly, I would get, like, I don't know, one job every 3 or 4 months, because one of my uncles was kind enough to promote me to, I don't know, somebody he knows, and say, oh, I know somebody, you know, my brother's daughter does makeup and she will do it for really cheap. And I used to do it. Honestly, my first ever bridal job that I did, I don't even know what year it was, but I charged £200, when most people now charge 5 times the amount. But that's what I charged, and that was my first job. And you know what's funny? I charged that amount, and the mother of the bride actually still managed to negotiate and bring it down even further. So yeah, so you know, to be honest, I barely made any money out of it, but it was a good experience. And I think I learned a lot in terms of not just the actual skill or you know, the methods of the job, but it was just clientele, you know, how you liaise with them, and things like contracts and timings, because people sometimes, you know, and I'm not, you know, no disrespect to anybody here, but I think sometimes people think, oh, because I'm paying her, I can just do whatever I want with her. And, you know, you know, you did have clients who treated you not with a lot of respect, but probably not intentionally. I think they did that because they just didn't know, and they didn't know really how to, you know, how to, like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know how to explain it really, but I think that, you know, the more jobs I did, I kind of realized, you know what, just so that I feel it's fair, you know, you start charging money for certain things, and you have contracts, you have timings, you have outlines, and you know, and it works for the client, it works for you, and both are happy. So you don't go home feeling like you hate your job or you've been treated really badly. You just feel like, you know what, it was a service and these were the conditions and I've done it and it's great. And majority of the time I become really good friends with my brides, and you know, they book me in the future when they have children for their child's first birthday, they want makeovers, or you know, so it just kind of, it becomes like a big family and stuff. So it is quite amazing. But to start off with, yeah, you don't always have great experiences, and I didn't, not for a long time, just because I didn't know the kind of standards or limitations to sort of set. So yeah. Honestly, it was never something that I dreamt of. Like, I didn't think, oh, one day, I never thought I'd ever get the opportunity. For us, I mean, for me growing up, I've watched a lot of Tamil films, and that was like my world. Like, and even till today, I love my Tamil songs, I love my Tamil films, and you know, I know every single gossip from the Hollywood world sort of thing. So I'm very interested in it. And you know, if somebody had told me this even, I don't know, 10 years ago, saying, oh, one day you'll be doing makeup on Sneha, I'd be like, shut the front door. Like, it you know, never ever thought that that was possible. And it's so great that nowadays, I think a lot of girls, so maybe I was one of the first ones, but you know, now a lot more people are getting the opportunity to work with celebrities, because back then we thought celebrities were so far away and they're not approachable, and it's kind of just like, oh my god, you just see them on screen. Whereas social media has made it so possible for you to really connect to people. And I think in my case, back then, I was one of the first younger sort of you know, makeup artists that, you know, people didn't really take me seriously, to be honest. And I think it was one of those things where I said yes to absolutely everything because I had the time to. For me, it wasn't about the money, and I just thought it was fun, and you know, it was always fun to collaborate. So whenever people were like, oh, Vithya, can you come and do this? Or Vithya, do you want to come and do this? I was just like, yep. Did it. And I think it got to the point where some of these people probably thought, which makeup artist can we call that will do it for free and not complain? Vithya. So, and honestly speaking, that is how I got some of these jobs. And I remember the first ever thing that I did, or the first ever job, was when somebody called me, you know, somebody in the sort of, who has the connections to the movie world, whatever. And he called me. I usually do jobs for him and stuff, and he just said, oh, I need makeup on a male, you know, male actor tomorrow for a little bit, you know, I'll pay you this much, are you happy? And I just thought, yeah, that's fine. And didn't even ask what the concept is, nothing. I just thought, okay, that's fine. And then just before he hung up the phone, he said, oh, by the way, you know, it's for Simbu. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And put the phone down, and then screaming down the house. And I was just like, oh my God. And it's funny, it's not like I was ever a fan of Simbu, but I just thought, just the idea that you're going to work on somebody that you've just seen on screen, and you know, and you're just like, oh my god, you're going to see them live. And man, I was fangirling big time. And I think it was an amazing opportunity to meet him and work with him. And I mean, I was only the assistant makeup artist, like I wasn't the main one, but just being there and watching it and seeing how it is, and the behind the scenes, and getting to know him. And VTV Ganesh was on the set, and you know, having a bit of a laugh, and it was nice. It was nice, and it was an amazing experience. So I just, you know, it kind of like started off with that, and I think a few people started to get to know who I was, or who I am, back in India because of this. And this is how collaboration is great, especially when you work with people who are not from your inner circle, or people who just live locally to you, but these are people from different countries. So when you get to work with them, even if it's for nothing, and even if it's just for 5 minutes, you know, the fact that you've opened that door is, I think, really important. And for me, I was all about working with people, doesn't matter who, you know, as long as, no, and it wasn't about getting, you know, like getting famous at all. It was all about getting my name out there so that I can get future jobs and I can get future opportunities. And honestly, like the Collywood world, like, it is just as exciting as you'd think. It is amazing, and you know, you meet some amazing people, and I had the honor of working with Sneha, you know, Amy Jackson, Nayanthara, and you know, legends like Bharadiraja sir, and yeah, it's been amazing. And I'm hoping, you know, I have a certain list that, you know, like that I have, that I'm just like, oh, my dream would be to work with Jyotika and just do makeup on Jyotika, or even if I could just touch her hair, like, you know. So there are certain people that I do have that it's my dream to work with them, because I've been such huge fans and I love their style, or you know, they're such an inspiration that you kind of really want to kind of work with them and stuff. So yeah, I just think, you know what, whenever you get the opportunity, don't shy away from it and don't say no to it. It is possible. I mean, if I can do it, if I can work and do amazing things like this, you know, why would it stop you? Why can't you do it? So trust me, it's worth it and it's fun. So take the opportunity. Yeah, that was actually a difficult one, to be honest. I think I had no idea about social media. Like for me, it was, you know, I came from a generation where we had High Five and we had MySpace, and you know, I was very open to sharing, and I think I'm a very open person as well. So for me, it was kind of like, yeah, okay, you know, I'll put up pictures, I'll do this, I'll do that. Now, when it came to the job, I was so confused about how much to filter. Like, you know, you're so used to putting your life out there and what you've eaten today, or I don't know, like when you go to Thorpe Park with your friends, like a theme park or something, and you put pictures up, and then you think, okay, how do I now link this to a business? So I had to make decisions where, I think when I first started, I had a private Facebook page, I had my business Facebook page, and then the more and more people that were following me on my business Facebook page would then add me or send me a friend request for my private, and then I would feel, you know, rude if I didn't accept. So I would accept them, and then you realize, oh my god, they're getting to find out a lot of private things that you maybe shouldn't really share with the business world. So I didn't know that for years, and I think I used my social media platform to put quotes up if I felt down. Like, I don't know, if I had a fight with somebody or something, I would put up like this quote to, you know, it was directed at them, you know, I wanted that person to read it, but it was so unprofessional. It was so bad, to the point where some of my guy friends were just like, you know, why are you being so childish? Like, don't use your business page to do other stupid stuff. And I thought to myself, oh, I don't care. I was all like, you know, so defensive and just like, I don't care what people think about me, blah blah blah. And then I realized, you know what, it's so true, because when it comes to business, everything that the decisions that you make to do with your business and future clients and stuff, like it has to be of a certain caliber. So I think for me, I had to make those changes and those drastic sort of, okay, you know what, there are certain private things that I don't want to share. There are certain things that I don't need to tell people, or people don't need to know, because all they'll do is like use my platform as a reality TV show and just get entertained by it. And that's not what I wanted. Like on social media, because you have a lot of younger kids following you, or you have people from an older generation. So in my head, I always think, okay, for example, my youngest cousin, she's 13, and I think of my 13-year-old watching my Instagram page, and then I think of my mum, you know, or my mum's older sisters who are, you know, from an even older generation. So I think, okay, if they looked at my Instagram, what would they say? If she looked at my Instagram, what would she think? So it's one of those things where I just had to think, and I do this every single time I post something. I think about that. Like, I think about these two generations, and I'm just like, okay, you know, maybe I shouldn't put this picture up. And you know, I'm 34 years old, and my mum and my dad still have an opinion about the clothes that I wear, and I'm kind of grateful for it, because I feel like, you know what, yeah, they taught me a lot of self-respect. And I think yeah, so I do think about this. I think my cousin Arthavan, who a lot of you would have met through my videos or social media, he did marketing at university, And I think 2 years ago, he sat me down and he said, right, woman, like, we need to change your game. And I thought at that point I was great at it, and you know, I didn't need the help. But he sat me down, I'm not exaggerating, for 2 hours, and he had these sheets, like papers of like, okay, you need to change the title of this, and you need to change the layout of your Facebook, and you need to do this to your Instagram. And I remember I spent 7 hours deleting nearly 6,000 pictures off my Instagram because he told me to. So it was one of those things where, you know, it's not just that he told me to do that, he explained why, and it was one of those things where I was just like, oh my god, I didn't see it. And you know, there's so much into it, and I feel like I'm still not very, like, I'm not perfect at it, like I'm still learning. And whenever somebody tells me something new about, oh, did you know this about YouTube, or did you know this, and you're like, oh my god, I had no idea, you know, with this new algorithm thing and everything. It's just like, there is a lot to it. But it is an amazing business tool. So I think if you are thinking of social media, you know, don't just think about, oh, let me just, I don't know, work with some photographers and models and constantly put up collaboration shoots and whatever. You know, whenever you do something, think of the why. Like, why am I doing this? What for? What am I going to gain out of this and stuff? And you know, and I think those are the things that I've learned now, that whenever I do something, I think about how this is going to benefit me, and how this is going to benefit my career, and how this will also benefit the others that I'm working with. Because, you know, the whole point of collaboration is that you obviously want to help each other out, and not just you gaining something from it and they don't, if that makes sense. So yeah, so like I said, social media is great. It's just you need to work out which social media platform works for what, and don't join the bandwagon just because somebody is good at YouTube but you're not very great at like talking in front of a camera, or you don't feel comfortable or whatever. Don't do it, like, because all you're doing is just like messing up your brand, if that makes sense. Because you shouldn't just do something that everyone's doing. You should do something that you're really good at and that works for you. And you know, there's a lot of makeup artists who do ask me, oh Vithya, you know, do you think I should do this, and what do you think of this? And I give them genuine answers, and I, you know, whether they like it or not, I give them real feedback, and I say to them, you know, don't do this because I don't think this would work for you, but why don't you do this because I think that would work for you. You know, and I'm never malicious, and I would never give somebody the wrong sort of advice. It's just, I always think, I believe in good karma. So you know, if you're giving out, you know, you get things back tenfold. So whether it's good or bad, right? So yeah, so I think you really need to figure out what works for you. I tried to do Twitter, didn't work for me. You know, Snapchat didn't really work for me, because I think the more and more I used Snapchat, it became so addictive. I started to really share unnecessary things. And then I know a lot of my social media family loved it, and they really enjoyed it, and they felt like they got to see another side of my life. But then, you know, you kind of need to draw a line somewhere, because, and the only reason I say that, it's not because I'm freaking Beyonce, but it's only because I've been through a lot. And I think especially when you've been through a lot, and a lot of people know a lot of negative things that have happened in your life, for example my divorce, people use that against you, and people kind of can be very negative about it.